So I've been waiting for this for a very long time to see exactly how the Empire and characters from Civ 5 are going to transition over into an AI-only battle scenario into a game like EU4, where the economies are much more in-depth, the wars are much more complicated, and the colonization system is very dynamic. So I built this campaign in the customizable nation builder, and yes, it was painstakingly long because I had to build every single one of these nations individually. The only difference you'll see, you might notice that some nations are called the Spanish, the Portuguese, the English. That is because I cannot use the same nation of countries that are already existing inside of EU4. But yeah, I mean, I tried to include the colors, the same colors from Civ 5. Sometimes I had to kind of sacrifice a little bit because there's only so many colors I can choose from. So yes, now before I get into this, I experiment with a lot of my AI-only battles. I don't just ever jump into it without kind of getting some tests done and seeing what exactly is going to be the most exciting. Well, unfortunately, Paradox locks off the nation builder to only 32 nations. So we're going to be focusing in on Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And like I just said, I test this out a lot because I realized that there were only 32 nations that I can place inside of this map. I wouldn't even be able to put all of Civ 5's I guess all of Civ 5 in Asia, Africa, Australia. Well, I guess there's no one in Australia, but Europe. That was the original plan, and kind of just to have no one in the New World. Unfortunately, I couldn't even fit that in, and even when I tried to remove some of the nations from Africa and put them in East Asia, these nations become way too powerful. They become extremely powerful, and I found that this is the most exciting because you have nations like Russia, the Huns, Assyria, the Persians. Their colonization and their route of expansion is towards the east, whereas the Europeans naturally are going to go towards the New World. So you have a lot of fighting going on right in the middle of this land, of just huge wars going on here. So what I've done here in this campaign is to kind of make it a little bit more fair for the Europeans, because I know some people who might pick, and I am going to do the whole kind of pick thing in the comment section below, so you can leave your pick in the comment section. Please just pick one nation, and if you pick what right, I will for sure give you a big old shout out at the end of this series. But yes, for those of you that are picking, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, okay, Assyria is going to win because they're closest towards, all this land over this way. That is not the case, because I've made sure that the Europeans are going to be still really, really strong, and I've kept the same economic tax base in the world. So obviously Europe is gaining a whole lot of money right now, and which means that they're going to have more colonization in the beginning part of the game. Assyria is in a very bad location, as well as most of the nations of the Middle East are in a very bad location. They're going to have to get over towards India and East Asia if they want to really start making some real money, whereas the Europeans are going to be making money, right from the very beginning of the game. And you also have to remember that Assyria, as well as these nations all that border each other, Babylon, the Persians, and Assyria, they all border each other, and they have terra incognita around them. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean the AI doesn't see it. They don't know what's over here. They have no idea. So that's a positive, but I will say that these nations that are bordering most of the uncolonized lands in Asia, they will get strong, but it's going to be at the end of the game. So it should kind of equate to an equal atmosphere, especially as the Europeans colonize probably most of the New World's North and South America. And you'd be surprised at exactly how much of this world gets filled out by the end of this game. You will be surprised, I promise you. I'm willing to bet that there was only maybe a handful of provinces that will be uncolonized by the 1800s. So this should be really, really exciting. So I think we went over everything besides the idea that, religion is still in the game. No, Protestantism does not form up as if you're used to EU4 in these customizable scenarios like this. There will be no Protestantism or no Protestant reform or anything like that. As well as, if you're wondering about technology, I've done the whole Civ 5 scenario where everyone is running off of the same Western technology. So that means that everyone is Western. Yes. So that'll be beautiful to see how that plays out. There's no one that's going to have any more advantage than the other ones. It just depends on, what kind of colonization goes on. And I am playing with the new Common Sense patch, so forts will be a thing. And that's kind of one of the things that I was so excited about this scenario, and I guess this series, because I really wanted to view exactly how the AI uses and utilizes the new fort system in the, I think, what are we at? The 1.13 patch currently, and the Common Sense expansion. So anyways, like I said, this should be very different from the Civ 5 campaigns that you might be used to. And did I go over the fact that, yes, I can't rename nations? That's why you will see the English and the well, we can do the Netherlands, but we have the Germans, the Polish, they're Poland, Germany, stuff like that. So what we've done is, and I'll probably start to increase the speed. We'll probably go on speed 3 for now. So everyone starts off with colonists, so we will see expansion as just like Civ 5 that we're used to. We will see, I think we see the Ottomans starting to expand right now. See, everyone is starting to colonize their lands. Everyone has 2 colonists, as well as I've given them a reduction in core creation cost, which I'm hoping will, which I'm not even hoping, I know that it increases the amount of provinces that we see in war. So I've really kind of geared this game to act very much like a regular sort of Civ 5 game in an EU4 scenario, where, mostly in EU4, wars don't take, they're not that significant. You can lose several wars and still be fine, whereas in Civ 5, you lose 1 or 2 and you're done. That's kind of the way I've created this scenario. At least in the very beginning. At the end, when everyone has colonies and stuff like that, obviously that's not the case. But in the very beginning, we will see a few nations probably fall. So yes, we have 2 colonists, as well as more than likely as they transition over and they get higher into the admid, diplo, and military technologies, I think they'll get additional colonists. So they'll be able to colonize even faster, which is what I'm saying, that there's usually not very much uncolonized lands by the end of this. I know some of you might be thinking that maybe the Zulu are going to dominate as previous AI-only campaigns. No, I am willing to bet they will not, because for the nations that are, not in Europe, see, Europe you're going to see colonizing extremely fast. They will be colonizing really, really fast because they've got all this money, because in EU4, colonizing takes a lot of money. And for the nations that are outside of Europe, they can't colonize as fast in the very beginning of the game. So you won't see the Zulu getting up their first colony or so for a while, because they've got to improve their economy. And the only way they can really do that is if they continue down the Western technology tech tree. So that's kind of the case to make if you're rooting for, if you're thinking, oh wow, Songhai is going to dominate, Ethiopia is going to dominate. No, because they've got to get that economy to sustain all the colonies that they're going to try to get up. Europe, you'll see, is already going for it right away. So again, it really balances each other out, and I want to just stress again that I test these campaigns out, and I know what would be exciting and what is balanced, so that we're not like a few videos into the series and it's clearly one winner. But then again, all these scenarios, especially in EU4, are very drastically different, because all the rivals are different, all the alliances are different. And now that we're on that topic, actually, before I get into the alliances, I'll continue to let this tick by. I do have city-states, and the greats, God of Florence, has joined us once again. There are 4 city-states in this campaign. Again, I wanted to keep most of the Civ 5 nations in the middle of the map, and this is as middle as I can get it, because India is a little bit too far out there. They would be the next nation. So I've included 4 city-states. We have Belgrade, Riga, Sidon, and Florence. Now their whole game, they're kind of built just like city-states in Civ 5, where they were not given a colonist right from the very beginning of the game. They start off with 12 provinces. As I forgot to mention, the nations start off with 4 provinces from the city-states. Most of the all the nations from Civ 5 start off with 12. And if you're wondering why some of the nations look a little bit bigger, that's just because some of the provinces are bigger than others. Like, it looks like the Celts are like just way bigger than Elizabeth, but that's not true. It's just because a lot of these provinces are just bigger in size. They don't technically mean much more power, and you're going to see that if Russia goes for modern day Russian lands, it looks like they're huge, but these provinces are just so massive, but they don't really provide much in terms of base tax. So in actuality, they don't become that strong. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at nations that look way bigger than other ones. Usually those small provinces actually provide a little bit more economy. So yes, the city-states do not start off with a colonist, which means that just like in Civ 5, the only way they're going to be able to expand is through conquering and war. And actually, you'd be surprised at how well these city-state nations that I've set up end up doing in this game. You'd be very, very surprised. So yeah, the city-states are involved, and I think they're going to get a colonist too, but that's just way down the line for now. And they also get a decrease in their development cost, so that kind of gives them the incentive to play very tall, as we're used to in Civ 5, as well as I've given them extra diplomatic, not reputation, relationships. So just like in Civ 5, these city-states should have more alliances than others, because they're going to have more possibilities to ally with certain nations and stuff like that. So anyways, let's go ahead and check on the alliances that have formed up. I know they probably formed a long time ago, but let's go ahead and check. So who is Napoleon allied to? Of course, only natural and only historic that that Napoleon is allied to the Celts, pretty much, I'm assuming, to combat against England. Now, has France rivaled England? Yes. Yes, France has. And as you can see, I had to, unfortunately, I can't use the same flags as nations from EU4, so I've made sure that I've color coordinated so it shouldn't be too hard to understand exactly what flag is who. So according to rivals, interesting. So France has rivaled probably who we all assumed here. They've rivaled the Netherlands, England, as well as Portugal. Oh, that's interesting. And they've allied to Germany, I believe. Germany and the Celts. And is that it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Denmark and the Netherlands have formed an alliance. How about the Celts? The Celts are just with France and the Netherlands. So there's a little alliance going on. A little three-way alliances. The Netherlands, they are not doing that. Sweden and Portugal. Again, because I had to kind of keep this game as equal as possible so that, one nation doesn't get too powerful, I wanted to make sure that every single nation started off with 12 provinces. So that's why you'll see kind of weird, for Denmark, for the instance for Denmark, I had to give them part of Norway because I didn't want them to expand into German lands, and I wanted to make sure that Germany can continue to expand through their colonists as well. So I've given them provinces up there. And the same thing with the Celts, where I've given them parts of Ireland. I just kind of had to because I wanted to make sure that no one had a bigger advantage over others. Same thing with Portugal. I've had them dip down into Northern Africa, dip down into more than likely Moroccan territory, which I don't know if Morocco is going to like that very much. But yeah, I just so that some empires are not getting shorted other than than others. So yeah, let's continue off with the alliances. Spain is not allied to anybody, neither is Portugal. How about Morocco? No one for Morocco, nobody for Rome. Rome and Austria. I'm sorry. Carthage, Carthage is not allied to anybody. Rome. How's Florence doing? How is Florence doing? Okay, so not many alliances up yet. We've got Greece and Austria. How about Poland? Poland and the Scandinavian countries, as well as the Netherlands, have all teamed up. You'd be surprised at how well the Celts do in this campaign, because the Celts get access to colonize Iceland pretty fast, which means that they jump off into Celtic Canada as soon as they get that colonial range. So the Celts, I have a feeling the Celts are going to do very well in this campaign. In terms of my pick, because I always like to choose, I always like to kind of throw out exactly who I'm thinking might possibly win the game. You do have to look at the Europeans, but, Europeans for short term. Obviously, Europeans are going to do fast. Now, I don't know. Again, I only test the game off into a certain quarter, a certain percentage into the game. I don't test the game exactly all the way through, because I don't want to know what would happen. Even if I did that, I guess the game is so versatile in the alliances and the rivals that form. Things change so drastically. So I guess I can go a short term and pick a European, but I don't know how they're going to last long term. I know that Assyria might do good. Well, let's just see how the alliances over here. So they're allied to Babylon, so that's really unfortunate for Persia. Persia has no alliances, and more than likely, you might see a war in the Middle East start off very fast here. Babylon and Assyria. Well, Persia already has a claim. Fortunately for Persia, Babylon and Assyria do not have their claims. How about the Ottomans? How are they doing? Allied to the Huns? Very interesting. So they have the Ottomans kind of allied to the Crimean region, where I put Attila. Again, I know that the locations of some of these nations aren't exactly the correct, location, but again, I'm just trying to, fit them in where it would be the most exciting, as well as somewhat historic as well. Yeah. So wow, that's interesting. The Ottomans there. Now, who have the Ottomans rivaled? I'm sure Byzantium. Yep. Greece and Rome. Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Now, who starts off with the best trade node? It looks like the English Channel is the best trade node for now, definitely, and I'm sure that's only going to get way better with time. Oh man, I cannot wait to see. And the good thing about the way that the observer mode works in EU4 is that we can actually go into nations and check out, we can look more in depth at what they're going for. Now in terms of I mean ideas specifically. In terms of ideas, I've let it, kind of generate randomly. Everyone has different ideas. I've only given them their starting ideas. That way we can see, expansion very fast here. And I'll probably bump it up to speed 4 because to kind of move this along. I'm sure we're going to jump into our first war very soon. The only unfortunate part about observer mode in in EU4 is that there is no way to see where wars are starting off. So we're gonna have to kind of stay back and just kind of examine to see where wars start off, because there's no pop-ups that tells us tell of a war that's coming at any time soon. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that. But I know for a fact that there will be some wars popping up very soon. I'm assuming between Spain and Portugal very fast here, because I guess that they've probably rivaled each other. Yeah, so Portugal has only rivaled... Whoa, why does Portugal have so many enemies? Portugal has only rivaled Spain, but Morocco and France have rivaled Portugal, and I'm assuming that's so that they don't take that hit to their power projection. That's more than likely why. Any claims on any of these lands? Here's the really fun part that I didn't really get to mention. Here's what's really exciting about this EU4 campaign, is that because everyone is in Western technology, they're all in the Western tech group, we will see personal unions, and that gets insane. When you introduce the mechanic of personal unions into like an AI only battle, oh my gosh, things get crazy. Absolutely insane. And if you're unfamiliar with personal unions, it pretty much means that France can have complete control over England. Imagine England as just complete control, as a vassal, where they will work for France. Now, obviously, it's possible for those personal unions to break, but for the meanwhile, while those nations have control over other nations, they are really powerful, and they can pretty much win whatever war that they want. So in terms of my votes, I have got to go with, I want to say... see, these middle nations are going to have a tough time. Rome is going to probably expand down towards Africa, as well as the Ottomans. The Ottomans got to find a way to get out towards just east of the Caspian Sea if they want to have any success here. They're going to need to do something like that. If I had to guess, I'm going to probably root for, I was going to say the Celts, but I don't know. You know, Canada and the northern part of the British Isles isn't super economic there. So I don't know. I don't know about the Zulu either. I guess I'm going to go with Spain. I really think that if Spain eliminates Portugal from Iberia soon, then they can have complete control over South America. We've seen this before. We've seen them do this before. I'm sure you've seen this in your campaigns in EU4, where Spain completely colonizes South America. They might even be able to do a lot better than that because there are no natives. So it should be a little bit easier for nations to do that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm very excited for personal unions. And like I said in the very beginning of the video, please leave me a comment section below telling me who you guys think is going to, or I guess are going to win, and I'll be sure to give your name a shout out by the end of this video. If you guys like this sort of series, please leave a like. It helps out tremendously, and hopefully the series gets a lot of feedback, because I would love to continue to do more AI only battles in EU4, because there's lots of versatility in this game, I guess, in this game, and hopefully at some point Paradox removes the 32 customizable nation limiter at some point, so that we can eventually do an entirety of Civ 5. All the nations. Right now, there's no mod that releases that sort of, I guess, limits sort of thing. But maybe in the future, Paradox will raise that number up so that we can include all sorts of Civ 5, every single Civ 5 nation, including the natives and the Eastern Asian nations as well. But we'll see. I mean, it depends if you guys like this series. If you do, like I said, please leave a like, and we'll see how this series does. I'm extremely excited for it because, again, like I said, the mechanics are completely different. Look at that. Boom. Spain has already declared war on Portugal. Are there any more wars going on? So we've got our first war. It's 1448, and we're just barely starting this campaign off. I cannot wait to see what happens. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.